Good morning, America. Thanks for joining us here on the Andy Kirkendall Show, where Andy interviews actors, writers, filmmakers, athletes, musicians, songwriters, and more, and asks them, what do you do and why do you do it? So sit back, grab a cup of coffee, and enjoy the show.
Good morning. Welcome to Morning Moments. Thank you for joining us today. Today I have a guest. He is a producer, director, writer. I had the privilege to co-host a show with Margie Santos a few days ago, and I asked him, hey, could you be on my show? And he graciously accepted my invitation. Thank you for saying yes. Dominic Giannetti, welcome to Morning Moments.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Had such a great interview with Margie and myself, and we had such a great time. And I've been looking forward to having you on Morning Moments. Well, let me ask you the question I ask everybody: what do you do, and why do you do it?
Well, I guess you could say I create. I'm a filmmaker. My entire life, that's all I've ever done. It's all I ever know. Why I do it? So I can jump all the way back from a little kid. When my mom took me to my very first movie, which was the first Star Wars, and I not only fell in love with the movie, but the filmmaking process. I had no clue. Grew up on Cape Cod, Massachusetts. I don't have a single family member or friend, for that matter, that was in the movie business. But I knew I wanted to make movies after I saw that movie. And I don't remember how old I was, but I was really young. So I decided then and there that that's what I was going to do. And I've spent my entire life trying to figure it out, put myself in the right positions to get to where I wanted to be. I can honestly say, since even maybe elementary school, I never had a plan B. There was never another backup plan for me. It's as crazy as it may seem. I knew, hey, I want to make movies. So I pursued that dream. Probably what really helped me get started was I got involved in theater, and through theater, I definitely, was able to transition into film. What really, I think, along the years, and maybe I learned more so within the last 5-10 years, is that I really loved helping out and teaching. There was a lot I wished I had, and a lot of people I wish I knew when I was growing up that I didn't have access to, that I didn't necessarily know where to go. There was no film program at my school. There was no, I started the theater program at my high school. So there was just, that stuff didn't really exist where I was from. And all my friends, were on the lacrosse team or whatever. So they're like, hey guys, let's do theater, So they were like, what's that, so in fact, our first theater production we ever did, I actually didn't know how to even acquire the script, so I wrote one, and I wrote the first play that our high school ever did. But when I moved to Florida, right after I graduated high school, I moved to Florida. I did sign up. I took classes at the Burt Reynolds Institute, and I also went to college and ended up luckily getting involved with short films. To make money, my brother and I opened a karate school. I grew up doing martial arts my whole life. And through that, I taught the kids, and my brother taught the adults, and which made sense because my brother's a lot better than I am. And he still does it to this day, martial arts, which I wish I kept with it. But it was actually through that where I really discovered, wow, I love teaching. And, I don't think I maybe ever thought of that as a career path. I quickly got involved in local art shows. I took over a film festival that was ongoing. I became the president of that, ran that for about 5 years, started my own different types of film organizations until I eventually was lucky enough to start working on feature films. And then it was just a big snowball effect after that. I worked on my first feature film and went on to work on probably over 100 movie sets in my career. Now I'm going to jump forward a little, because about 5 years ago, when my two daughters were, oh boy, maybe around the 8-9-year-old mark, they were doing theater, and they really showed an interest in film and television. And nothing really existed in our area for that. And I was, a lot of people just kept telling me, just start it. And I was kind of, hey, I don't have time for that. But eventually I did. And I opened up what's called You Create Academy. It's a nonprofit acting and film school. It's still running till this day. I technically started it in 2017. It really ramped up in 2019. We got a 5-minute feature on NBC's Today Show in the morning, and a couple months after that, COVID shut us down. So we were really on that fast track, and it kept going throughout COVID virtually. And I'm glad to say we are still back in a brick and mortar building and doing well. But in the midst of You Create Academy, I continue to work on films. But what I found was this almost joy to take a lot of my students and put them in professional films with professional actors. And it's through this process within the last several years that I think it's become my calling, even to the point where I'm stepping away from directing more so and just focusing on producing and putting together as many projects as I can for these young actors and creators and filmmakers to have the opportunity to work on professional films. I would say my whole life unknowingly that I was always helping other people. And it wasn't until the last few years that I really, really decided that's something that I want to put a lot of my heart and passion into. I will say it's not easy. It's really difficult helping people. It does not come without challenges. I deal a lot with people maybe that are more vicious than the actual studio heads in LA. So, when you're dealing with different, people that are trying to get maybe their kids to a certain point of their career or whatever, but none of the negative, nothing has stopped me. It's always been something that I always see the positive. And, I see students of mine that I currently have that are doing wonderful things. I see past students of mine that have moved on and forgot about me, but I'm still happy for them. And it just brings me so much joy to see their success, because in a way, I feel like it's a little bit of my success, knowing that my goals were for them to get to their goals. I had to really fight and seek out my dream. To me, I always use this example that every day I walk on set is like, it brings me back to a little kid on Christmas morning. Every single day I can work months at a time, and I never lose that excitement. And when I see that in another, especially like a kid or a teenager's eyes, that same gleam, that same excitement that they're having, it makes me want to help more. I will never ever stop helping. If anything, I'm just going to merge the two together, which has been my focus in the last 2-3 years, is really merging together the academy with the professional world and going from there. I'm going to apologize in a minute. I just hear our landscapers outside. So if you hear that loud noise, that's I hear the leaf blower approaching. So, but yeah, so that's, look, I could probably get into my career. We just finished a movie. I will jump to that. We just finished a movie that we filmed during COVID called American Prom. Got my poster in the background. The beauty of that is I took a script and I hired all of my students. Okay. So in my school, whether you want to be an actor or filmmaker, you're going to learn both. Okay. If you want to be an actor, you're going to learn how to hold a boom. You're going to learn how to work a camera. You're going to learn camera angles. You're going to learn lighting. And if you want to be a filmmaker and you're terrified of being in front of the camera, guess what? You're going to get in front of the camera. It's just something I make them do, and it's really been beneficial. But the beauty of this is when at the height of COVID, I had this script that was mostly in one location. So I was able to tell all my actors, hey, look, we're going to enter a production bubble, and you guys are going to not be around anybody else for the next 2 or 3 weeks, and you're going to only live with each other and be together. And we were fortunate enough that one of the moms took in all the teenagers to live at her house, which was amazing. I don't know how she did it, because that's a lot. And we pulled off a feature film. And what's amazing about this is that not only did we make a movie in the height of COVID, but we gave a lot of the teenagers their first feature film. And the ability to not just be in a movie, but I only had 2 professional crew members there, adults. It was my cameraman and the sound guy. And other than that, everything else was done by the kids, and some of the parents chipped in. So what was great is that I have this program called the Onset Experience, and it really is about, like, I've always felt, how did I learn? What did I do to learn? Well, I didn't have a school when I was young to go to. So before college, I would go to bookstores and teach myself reading books on filmmaking, every single screenwriting, filmmaking, camera, acting, lighting. I mean, I never really had an interest in acting, but I read every acting book because I thought, well, if I'm going to direct these actors, I need to know what they're reading, what they're learning. So I really did self-teach myself, but I learned, like, what was important was, once I got into college and the stuff that I did learn in the classroom, it was always, the most I've learned was being on set and working. So I tried to merge those two with these students, and really give them what I call the onset experience, where they're learning as they're doing. Now, American Prom is 100% a professional film made by students. So it's kind of like a student film, but not really. It's a professional film. The beauty is that not only were they doing everything other than camera and sound on the set, but they were learning from the, cinematographer and the sound man, who have years and years on sets. So they were getting an education while they were making a feature film, which was amazing. We finished it. We recently had a premiere, sold out premiere. It was amazing. I'm happy to say the film is currently in Los Angeles with somebody very high up in the film industry that's helping me get real distribution for it. I know we live in a world today where sadly, it's easy to get distribution. It's just hard to get good distribution. I guess I'll say it that way. Getting a movie on a platform is almost as easy as uploading it to YouTube these days, but you want to get it in the right hands so that the right people see it and more people see it, or else, you're just getting a friends and family viewing, which you could just send out the link to. So, but we really are trying to, even go beyond the production aspect and acting aspect with our kids. I've recently started teaching them that process of, hey, you can take something from development to distribution, and how you can even make money on it to make more movies. So really, what I've kind of morphed myself into is still creating films. We're doing about anywhere, several feature films a year, and I'm more and more and more including my students in that process, and really excited to see where it goes, because it's kind of a new road for me in this 30 plus career I've had in filmmaking.
Yeah, it's wonderful to get to the point where you want to pass on to the next generation. I've told people before, I used to think, and I still do, that, our journey is not just a sprint, it's a marathon. I'm in it for the long haul, but now I'm learning it's also a relay race, and I need to pass on some things I've learned to the next generation. So it's great that you've got that. Dominic, thank you so much for sharing your heart today. I know that you've got some great things in the future. I'd love to have you come back in the future and talk about some your next projects and other things as they come on. As we close today, I want my viewers to take a few moments and do something for me. I want you to spend a few moments and pray for Dominic. You see, he's surrounded himself with kids that need attention and need direction and need help. So he needs your prayers. He desperately needs your prayers if he's working with kids. And he needs your prayers, folks, and you need the practice. So pray for him as we close this. Pass this interview on to others. Keep coming back. And Dominic, thank you for joining us for Morning Moments.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I had a great time.
And for you, like I said, keep passing this on to others. Come back, and may God richly bless you.